AskReddit by Fijin Josp. What's the worst thing about being a man? The general lack of empathy or support. You can't do it because you're a man. I'm drowning on all fronts here, just looking for anything to help. Sexual harassment and sexual assaults are usually a joke or not taken remotely serious when you're a guy. I've been sexually harassed and assaulted at work, and told lucky guy they're old enough to be your mother. Take it as a compliment as if that makes the situation better. In the end, honestly, if you're a guy and made sexually uncomfortable, it's too bad, so sad, move on. When I approached management about it, I'm just told, well, let's make it a clean slate and move on. What? They literally dry humped me? Grabbed my ass? Even when a member does it, it's just completely fine? Men aren't normally seen as victims. We're just expected to not be or to not be affected by it. Work for Costco BTW. If anyone is curious as to where this happens. Also a Costco worker, call your regional management ASAP. No wrong would brush that under the rug, and if informed that warehouse management would freak. If they don't take action, call the SVP of the region. The company has open door policies for this very reason. I'm so sorry you went through that, and as someone in a leadership role, it infuriates me to hear that's how it was treated. We can't say kids are cute without being on FB watch list. While driving a classmate past a daycare I frequently pass on my runs, I commented that there's a bunch of cute kids that play there, just thinking it's nice there's still something good and pure in this messed up world. He started acting like I said they were sexy or something. I don't stare at anyone's kids, I'm just out for my run and looking ahead. Had to tell the guy, look, I'm almost 30, everything about my biology is screaming to make babies. So just chill, dude. Not everyone is a creep. Still made me feel bad the rest of the day. The stereotype that all men are pedophiles if they like working with children. Volunteered at the daycare that I went to when I was young for a field day event. One of the mothers there expressed her concern for a male being there around her kids, and word got back to me. I was pursuing a degree in early childhood EDU and dropped out and gave up on that dream because a lot of people thought I was weird or that I must be some sort of pedophile. I'm pursuing a career in education too. I hope to become a high school English teacher because I love working with younger people, even if it's not a huge market for male teachers. Sorry to hear about your dream being crushed. I'm a little worried as I've heard from my previous teachers about how they once received a couple anonymous complaints from parents that were worried he was trying to get with the female students. The lack of respect men receive as parents. Not being able to interact with children without fearing being called a pedo. It can be desperately lonely, especially for the introverts. Extremely weak emotional connection with male friends and peers. Hair loss. Deleted. I feel like I can't genuinely enjoy being around kids without people thinking I'm weird or a pedo. A friend of mine, a guy, worked as a daycare worker for a few years. Until one day some 12-year-old girl told one of the workers he had made a comment on her boobs, so he was immediately fired. The next day the girl asked where he was, and then when they explained it to her, she said she was just lying because she thought it would be funny. They offered him his job back, but the whole situation was so mortifying for him that he has never worked with children ever again. Hair everywhere. I mean, seriously, does it have to come out of my ears? Body, you're getting older now. What would you like to ease the burden? Me, oh, I dunno. Knee lubricant? Body hair out of the ears it is. Male pattern baldness. Deciding whether I just buzz it right now. My mom died suddenly September. All I've wanted is for a friend to give me a hug and be willing to listen. My wife's girlfriends will, but none of my male friends, despite telling them I'm really hurting. Nobody is willing. It fucking sucks. That's literally the first thing I did when my mate lost his mum. Some of us hugged just to say hello. Virtual bro hug sending your way, mate. Being short gets us the manlet label. I'm 5 feet 6 inches. No matter what my accomplishments are, everything is me compensating. A month ago I took my daughter to her 1-month appointment. Nurse said, "Oh, you're on ad duty today." First of all, I'm always on ad duty. Second, I take my son to 90% of his appointments. 3 fuck your. Edit. This blew up, but it happens. My parents act the same way too with stuff. I aspire as a father to be like Bandit before I knew who Bandit was. You should have just acted really dumb. What do you mean? I don't get it. Have them to get explain it to and they'll realize they sound like an ass. The stress of providing for your family amid all the current turmoil in the world and knowing that it's all on you whether your family has a stable and financially secure life while feeling the need to obtain a life that probably isn't realistically obtainable anymore, and every day watching the neighborhood you live in slowly get worse and know there's nothing you can do about it right now. Feeling like you can't open up because of how it always turns out, therefore bottling it inside and letting it all out at once, thereby making it even worse. And just being told, well, it will be okay. Okay, cool, sure. Well, as the one that it depends on to make it okay, I kind of need to know how to do that. Edit. Wow, this got quite a response. Thanks to everyone who shares this type of stress. It is hard day in and day out, but for those of us with kids and SAMs, we're doing what's arguably the cheaper alternative anyway. I just meant to highlight the pressure that does form that isn't talked about much, and I see I am not alone. So thank you all for that. I'll try to respond individually as much as I can. Might be a bit though. Dude, I'm so sorry. I felt this comment to my core. My entire relationship with my ex was built on your first paragraph. The best thing she ever did was divorce me. I truly hope that your situation improves. If you're broke, you ain't shit. Your status is your net worth. The loneliness. Surrounded by people but still alone. Having no value unless we provide something. I saw the shift as I entered my teens. I wasn't a child anymore and received no sympathy or care for any of my problems. Man up or get over it when female family got lots of sympathy and understanding. Once I started earning money and could provide more, I was suddenly super popular. When my wage dropped over covered, I was basically ignored. Learned a valuable lesson though, much more selfish now but still generous with the people that stuck by me. Yeah. The real fun one is when you're married and you're doing everything you can with the hours you have in your day and your partner stops noticing the things you do and tells you you don't do shit and need to start helping out and doing more. Dating and having to initiate everything with women fucking sucks. I might just say fuck it and not try to find anyone. I'm starting to think that staying single is a better life. I bought a man flowers once as initiation. Had them sent to our work and got to watch as he received them at his desk. A dozen long stem roses. I'd never seen a man so happy. We've been married for almost 12 years now. One of the reasons I did it was because no man had ever given me flowers and I figured, give the person I want to date the thing no one ever gave me. Nobody takes your feelings seriously or bothers to check in on you. Yeah, this is a big one. I try to be the guy who checks in on people, but it can be pretty painful when nobody checks in on you. I'm going off the rails here a bit and say that I wish men had as many clothing choices as women do. I mean, when I see a woman in a light, airy summer dress on a hot day, I'm like, here I am in my jeans sweltering and she looks so comfortable. The comparison between business professional attire during summer months is a real kick in the dick for guys. Never getting compliments. I've been working out a bit and saw this guy from high school, acquaintance, not really friend, and he says, "Hey man, you're looking good." Made me feel quite good. Deleted. That's certainly the most irksome thing. Growing up it was expected that we were supposed to ask the ladies out. So if you found yourself as a 25-year-old virgin who'd never kissed a girl, it was obviously because you were some kind of loser. Yeah, this was absolutely by far the worst thing about being a guy for me. Was a virgin until my late 20s and miserable about it the whole time. The amount of self-loathing and low self-esteem is off the charts. Being seen as a pedophile. BC, you're concerned about a kid that wandered ahead of their parents. Instead of thinking about the danger that puts the kid in, they judge the man looking at the kid. Once my brother, husband, and I went on a trip together. We rounded the corner of a hotel and saw an elevator closing with a young kid, maybe 3, standing outside the elevator. Apparently she ran out and the doors closed. Scared, she immediately started running and crying. We all ran to get her, calm her down, and find the parents. Well, she immediately ran to my brother. I'm not sure why, but kids absolutely adore him and gravitate towards him. He sat on the floor with her while my sullen husband went to find the parents. Well, others heard her crying and we explained what had happened and the women tried taking the child away from my brother. Mind you, these weren't her parents, just women who felt she was better off with them instead of my brother. I intervened saying that he's incredible with kids. He and I actually both work at an elementary school, and my husband and Sil went to find the parents. But they were insistent on taking her, but I refused because she had finally calmed down and was chatting with my brother. Shortly her parents came, thanked us, and everything was fine, but man, these women were shooting daggers and dirty looks. I was furious. Deleted. I was a collegiate swimmer and long-time lifeguard. As such, I also taught a lot of swim lessons and continued doing that well into my 30s. Nearly every year after I started college, without fail, there would be a handful of moms who wouldn't want me teaching their kid because an adult man working around children is very obviously a pedophile. Now they wouldn't quite say that, but you always could read between the lines when parents would ask their kid be given a different instructor. Your genitals during summer. Wish they had a better design. My god, yes. The sweat. The sticking to thighs. The awkward strut while trying to fix it without being labeled a perv. The everlasting itch if you dare shave. Getting jock itch if you don't ventilate. Edit, would you look at that? Now I have a whole list of stuff I have to try. Thanks, I guess. The double standard around bodily autonomy and sexual harassment assault. I've had a supervisor try sleeping with me. I rejected her. She then tried to get me fired by saying I was making racist, homophobic, transphobic jokes remarks. When I tell people I've been the victim of sexual harassment, they laugh like it is a joke. This isn't the only instance. I've also had a former female co-worker fondle my genitals with her foot in plain sight of multiple other co-workers, including the owner of the restaurant. When I was triggered and upset by this, I shut down and isolated myself from the group on the trip. I was then told to stop being such a downer. I confronted the co-worker who did it and explained how it made me feel. She downplayed it with a non-apology and acted like nothing happened. I have other stories, but I feel like this is enough trauma dumping for one post. These experiences taught me that no one gives a shit about male victims when it comes to sexual harassment or assault abuse. Because we are men, we are expected to be horny all the time, accept any sexual advances or comments at any time, and if we don't, then we're deemed a lesser man. Cool. Edit, formatting. I'm on mobile. Being assumed to be a predator. My job occasionally requires me to go into schools. I live in such fear of being labeled a pedophile that I refuse to use bathrooms unless they are staff only. When traversing the halls, I constantly look at the floor and require an escort anytime I have any kind of interaction with students. My company knows this, and the school personnel I interact with knows this. All it takes one incident and there will be whispers about you for life. I know this too. I'm the cook at a private nursery, business hours, easy job, good holidays. My family and close friends know, but to everyone else I'm just chef. Having the expectation to always keep my shit together. Being vulnerable is a weakness. Failing is not an option. Provide regardless of the state of your overall health. This one hits home. My husband was near suicidal from undiagnosed bipolar and he felt that he could not stop working, although his body was falling apart and he desperately needed a break, because he is a failure if he stops. It didn't matter how much I encouraged him, that narrative was ground into the very essence of him from birth. Finally, he saw a psychiatrist, got diagnosed and medicated, and it's like night and day watching him thrive. But I didn't understand until the last 6 months how incredibly, deeply, inescapably these toxic societal expectations had damaged him and all the men around him. Sometimes I just don't feel like being as swift as a coursing river. How about having the force of a raging fire though? That I'm still just a little boy inside who has too many responsibilities now. Yeah, I kept waiting to feel like an adult. Now that I'm 30, I realize adults are just grown-up kids. Everything I was going to say is on here already. FR, this is the diary of modern man.